As we wait to officially start, I just want to welcome you. My name is Phoenix Kawamoto. I am the interim co-chair for the Board of Directors for the Hudson Valley LGBTQ Center, and I'm really happy to see all of you here. And in just a moment, we'll officially begin. But I thank you for taking the time for this really important listening session. Okay, so in the interest of respecting everybody's time, we're going to get started. Again, my name is Phoenix Kawamoto. My pronouns are they, them. I am the current interim co-chair for the Board of Directors for the LGBTQ Center. We are extremely pleased that you are all here. Having a listening panel has been something that we have really wanted to have happen for a long time, and I'm just so grateful for the staff that they really, as part of the virtual Pride activities that they have put together, that they had this happen for this evening. We know that it is really challenging in these times, especially with everything needing to be virtual. This is not the preferred way. We wanted to be able to be with you to hear what is on your mind and on your hearts. But we are certainly grateful for the opportunity to have Zoom and to have this time together. At this moment, before I go into kind of more of the logistics for this evening and how we're working together to create a really safe and respectful space and container for you and for all of us, I would like to just invite my co-chair to introduce himself to you, and he'll be serving as timekeeper for this evening.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you, Phoenix. I want to echo Phoenix's remarks. This is a very, very special day for us as co-chairs of the center and of the board. And we want to make sure that we hear as much and as many people as we possibly can. So I'm excited. My pronouns are he, him, and looking forward to hear everything we have for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim. We have several, I'm going to see there's so many of you that I have to, please forgive me while I have to flip through screens to try to make sure that I acknowledge that the board members that are also present to listen tonight is really about hearing. So I just want to be really clear that we appreciate whatever you need to bring forward. And we welcome that, even though we know that it may be very emotional. Lots of different feelings may present themselves in this space, and we want it to be a safe and respectful space for all. We will not, because it is set up as a listening panel, we will not be speaking individually to each comment. We will not be able to answer questions at this time. What I'd like you to know is that we will be meeting both as board and staff together to process what you have brought forward for us. And we will be having a second community forum and discussion on July 30th, where we will bring forward what we have heard and received from you, at least what we thought we heard and received, and what our ideas and suggestions and responses may be, and then open that up for more discussion. This is the first of what we hope will be many ongoing dialogues with you and the remainder of the community. Okay, so board members by first name that are here, we have Duffy, we have Tamara, we have Orlando, we have Ellen. Yeah, if you want to give a wave and people happen to be on the same screen. And I'm going to flip through to see who else. We have Ron with us. And I'm having flashbacks of childhood when there was a TV program. Barbara, thank you, Barbara. And people were saying who they saw. And oh, and there's Lauren. This is very strange. And I believe I have everybody as far as board members who are present. Again, I thank you for your patience. This is an interesting challenge, okay? At this time, I really want to introduce to you our really amazing staff and talented and dedicated staff that they are. We have Jeff Rindler-Jordan, Executive Director, pronouns are he, him. Amanda Norton, Director of Programs and Services, she, her. Signe Fuya, Director of the Wellbeing Institute, pronouns she, her. Liz Schivoni, Assistant Director of Programs. Their pronouns are they, them. Sorry, Liz. Some of my nervousness coming out. And we have Tim Doak, Wellbeing Counselor and Licensed Creative Arts Therapist. Pronouns are he, him. Zoe Rose, Administrative Assistant and Website Manager. Zoe's pronouns are she, her, or they, them. And Renita Principe, Office Manager, pronouns she, her. The format for this evening, and we'll be reminding you of this as it goes forward, is we ask that, and I know we have a number of participants who've already raised their hands, so we're going to be asking people to raise their hand if you wish to speak. If you are not familiar with that, you go into the participants, click on a participants, and you will have a little box at the bottom of that column that says raise hand, okay? It will automatically put people in the order that we have received their hand raising so that we can call people in the appropriate order. Each person, because we are trying to hear from as many of you as possible, so you will have 3 minutes. At the 1 minute warning, there will be 2 minutes in, there'll be a 1 minute warning. Jim will gently let you know that you have 1 more minute remaining. And then when it gets to be down to the wire, 15 seconds, he'll let you know that at that point, it's time to wrap up your comment. If by chance we were to magically get through, I think we're going to be hearing from a lot of people, but if by chance there's time and you would like to raise your hand for to continue something or speak about a different matter, please do. It will be limited to how much time we have. If time permits, we will read feedback given in the Google form if community members requested us to share it. This meeting is being recorded so that the center staff and board can review the comments. Again, we know that we're really listening and want to be in the moment. And what you say is important, so we want to be able to come back to it. We are, as I mentioned, really wanting to create a safe space for the community to come together. And the goal is really for open communication. We really can't have hateful or discriminatory speech. Again, we're looking for a safe space, right? So if this occurs, the person will be muted. Folks, yes, I think I've covered everything. It is an open floor for community members. And when we get to 10 minutes before the close of this session, which will be 8:20, at that point, I will let folks know that we're getting down to the last few who will be able to be called upon. And I thank you in advance for working with us in this way, respecting the time just so that we can allow for as many people to speak as possible for this first listening panel. Okay. And with that, we will start with our participants that have raised their hands. The first person up.
Hello, everybody. I'm Holly Kelly. I am reading a letter that has been prepared by a group of people. We will be reading this in segments throughout this session. We invite you to imagine with us what the Hudson Valley LGBTQ Center could be. A vibrant community center where every member of the LGBTQ plus community can feel a sense of welcome and belonging and ownership, where the incredible power and diversity of our community is truly represented, where the essential work of liberation can take place, where any one of us can come and find friends, resources, support, refuge, and inspiration. Not a cold monument to the wealth and ambition of a financially successful few, but a living community that actively centers and supports the most vulnerable among us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We are writing not to call anyone out, but to call our leadership in. In 50 years, what will be the value of a name on a plaque on the wall? Who will remember who valued wealth and prestige and power, and who valued the people and found the courage to really hear us? It is the nature of institutions to grow increasingly conservative over time, to be more and more concerned about maintaining and protecting themselves, honoring their traditions, resisting change, and uplifting the visionaries who started them while ignoring their very human failings. We recognize this process as well as the protective instincts that drive it. We acknowledge the work for our community that went into creating and funding the center, the sacrifices made, and the vibrant community which grew around its founding and development. At the same time, we insist that the center is out of touch with the larger LGBTQ plus community and consistently centers wealthy, white, able-bodied, cisgendered people. Therefore, we lovingly and firmly seek to call our leadership in to consider what our community needs from its center right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
In order to honor both the center's mission statement and the realities of the Hudson Valley LGBTQ community, we, the undersigned, make the following demands. We are willing to work with the board in accomplishing these demands in a good faith effort to build positive community rather than create divisions that alienate us from the mission of the center. Whereas the center is not a truly accessible space and therefore cannot help but unacceptably exclude members of the LGBTQ community, we demand that the center immediately prioritize effective, permanent, and safe wheelchair access to the building itself as well as to the third floor. Additionally, we demand that the center provide basic ASL and Spanish language instruction for all staff and volunteers, that written materials in Spanish be produced, that the website be updated to be compatible with screen readers, as well as any other necessary changes that might be suggested by local disability activists, including the use of a language interpretation line for the use of anyone working at the front desk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Allison?
Thank you. Whereas the Board of Directors has shown itself to be out of touch with the needs of the local LGBTQ community, and indeed the needs of a community are only known by its members, we demand that the LGBTQ Center commence a comprehensive community needs assessment as soon as possible, utilizing paid workers who will prioritize gathering information from the communities that have been heretofore neglected by the center, i.e., people of color, poor and working class people, people with disabilities, and trans, non-binary people. We demand the results of that assessment be published on the center website and be used to plan center programming and staffing needs. Additionally, we demand that clear and accessible means for users of the center to give feedback to center staff be made available with no risk of retribution. Thank you for my time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lauren?
Hi, thank you, everybody.
Hi.
So I'm going to continue as well. Whereas the center as an institution lacks the resources to adequately serve the entire Hudson Valley and has not engaged in mutually supportive relationships with other LGBTQ centers throughout the Hudson Valley, but rather has engaged in competitive and occasionally hostile relations with them, we demand that the center repair its relationship with the community through collaborating, not competing, with other community centers in the area. We demand also that the Hudson Valley LGBTQ Center either change its name to the Kingston LGBTQ Center or make a realistic plan to fully serve all of the counties in which it operates. We demand also that the center commit to relationships of reconciliation, mutual aid, and solidarity with other LGBTQ community centers in the Hudson Valley. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Emmett?
Whereas the failings of the center and the culture of privilege that led to them cannot be entirely blamed on any single person, but there are also the responsibility of the board of directors whose membership does not adequately represent the community the center claims to serve. We demand that the board of directors commit in writing to seeking and appointing new board members who are members of the communities the center claims to serve, specifically people of color, poor and working class people, youth, people with disabilities, and trans or non-binary people, with the goal of having the board proportionally represent the actual constituency of the Hudson Valley LGBTQ community. This will necessitate removing any financial barriers to board membership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Louise?
Thank you.
Hi.
Continuing this letter. Whereas the board does not operate in an acceptably transparent manner to be accountable to the community it exists to serve, we demand that the rules, bylaws, and meeting minutes of the board of directors be published on the center website, that the current list of board members on the center website be consistently kept up to date with names, photos, bios, and contact information of all current board members, and that a fully accessible means of bringing reasonable concerns to the board when center leadership fails to act be made available immediately. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is it Erin?
Thank you. Whereas Jeff Rindler Jordan, the executive director, has created and promoted through word and deed an environment hostile to people of color, trans and gender nonconforming people, and poor and working class people, and his actions as executive director have created ripples throughout the larger community, leading to alienation and distrust, and has resisted attempts to correct that hostile environment, and has abused his position to retaliate in a manner unworthy and unacceptable for his position against people who have spoken out. And much of the larger LGBTQ community has lost faith in his leadership, as well as his willingness to acknowledge the harm he's done and to change. We demand that Jeff Rindler undergo a community accountability process. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Salem?
Whereas there have been numerous, Whereas there have been numerous instances of actions by the leadership of the center having caused harm to members of the community, and the majority of those harms have gone unacknowledged and unaddressed by the center, and portions of the LGBTQ community no longer feel welcome or safe interacting with the center, we demand that the board issue a public acknowledgement of harm caused, a public apology to the LGBTQ community in general, private apologies to the former staff members and other community members who have been specifically harmed, and a public commitment in writing detailing actions they will take to do better in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we have the next person speak, a question was sent to me. So if you're having difficulty raising your hand and you'd like to speak, if you move your cursor to participants and you click on participants, on the side, if you're on a laptop. I'm not sure about the phone. I'm sorry. But a column will appear with the list of names, and there is a raise hand button. Simply click on that, and it will put a blue hand next to your name and put you automatically in place in the right spot for raising your hand so that you'll be next in line. Okay? Thank you. Is it Valkyrie?
Yes. Hello. So we have to be counted as two because we're just sharing the same video stream. So I'd like to continue reading that letter.
Please.
So whereas the center as an institution has unwittingly created and promoted an environment of racism, ableism, cis-sexism, and class privilege, causing harm to and repelling many members of the LGBTQ community, and has prevented the center from accomplishing its mission, we demand that all center staff and board members, including the executive director, commit to a searching and courageous self-assessment of their own values and commitments. And if they find themselves unable to wholeheartedly and honestly align themselves with the work of intersectional queer liberation, which necessarily entails actively working to undo classism, racism, white supremacy, transphobia, ableism, hetero and cis normativity, and other axes of oppression, especially those that directly benefit center staff, board members, and leadership, then we demand that those staff, board members, and leadership who are unable or unwilling to commit to the ultimate undoing of their own privilege begin the process of transitioning of their own current roles at the center, and thereby open those positions to people whose values are in line with the center's mission statement and with the work of the LGBTQ plus liberation. We also demand that all future hiring of staff and appointments of board members be contingent upon a similar self-assessment process.
Thank you.
My name is Victoria Precise, and I'm continuing the letter. We, the undersigned members and allies of the LGBTQ plus community in the Hudson Valley, make these demands in a good faith effort to work with the board of directors to revitalize the center and to recommit as a community to the values that have always underpinned the movement for LGBTQ liberation and equality. We are eager to collaborate with the board of directors and the staff of the center to grow together into the community center we truly need. We are already creating it, and we will continue to build that courageous, loving, transformative community with or without the center. There is an opportunity here for the center to be so much more than just a fundraising vehicle and event space. We sincerely hope the center will join us. We'll expect a detailed written response which addresses each of these initial demands by July 2nd, 2020, sent to queerallianceofkingston@gmail.com, to be followed by a meeting within 1 week of our receipt of that response. Signed, Queer Alliance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Donna?
Hi, I'm Donna Schlackman. I've worked at the front desk filling a weekly slot for 2.5 years. And I just want to say that I stand firmly with the Queer Alliance in their testimony just now, and I too imagine a better center. In my time as a volunteer, I've witnessed staff turnovers in every position, some more than once, except for the executive director. I have 5 areas of feedback, all of which I have shared with the staff over the years, except for number 5. And I'm going to keep this really brief to stay within 3 minutes, hopefully. 1, front desk space. As an older, straight, white female, I'm just about the least representative person you could have at the desk. I appreciate very much that I'm welcomed here, but it's not about me. It's about how the center is perceived by the public it exists to serve. So I'm just asking if people like me are the right face for this volunteer position. 2, racial representation. I was here for the first workday and the last workday of the 2 professionals of color on staff, and it has not sat well. If all the current staff and board members have not gone through training on racism and sexism, in which they must self-reflect on their own, I hope this begins tomorrow. You cannot afford to believe any more than I can that being progressive thinkers makes you immune to displaying and perpetuating individual and institutional racism and ageism and sexism and ableism. Physical accessibility. When the 3rd floor was being renovated for offices and a staff meeting eating area, I asked someone with how someone with significant mobility impairment was going to work at the center. I find it unacceptable that some would have to stop at the second floor while others were admitted to the third floor. Also, the lack of appropriate ramping into the building speaks volumes about physical exclusion. Storing a very heavy, awkward ramp system in the first floor vault in the event that someone is actually at the front desk and actually able to maneuver it is not access. Using state law exemptions for old buildings or whatever is not an excuse. 4, Spanish language. Information on both the sandwich boards and on the website is practically non-existent in Spanish. This is Kingston. Enough said. This leads me to my 5th point, board representation. I commend the board for making room and thank Phoenix and Jim for stepping into their co-presidency or chairpersons. I believe the board needs to consider moving to a more representative, inclusive, and accountable model, such as one comprised of a third center consumers, a third public officials or their representatives, and a third private sector businesses and organizations. I actually have more observations about where I feel the center falls short of being a community resource and connection point. These are very specific items, and for the sake of time, I will use that online forum and mail them in. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for the Queer Alliance.
Thank you very much, Donna. Sorry, is it Yona?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Yona Achalo. My pronouns are they, them, or any non-binary pronouns. And some of you may know me because I started the trans health program, the first trans health program in the Mid-Hudson Valley. And I've been was running it for the past 4 years. And I wanted to share a couple things. I think and hope and assume that the board knows that I was employed by the center. And I stopped working there because I was very publicly mispronounced and repeatedly mispronounced by the ED. Sounds like you're nodding. Sounds like you know that's good news. I'm curious what has happened after I shared some really specific and kind of tiring for me suggestions of what to do to move forward. I didn't see substantive follow-up, which was why I stopped working for the center, which was too bad. But I also wanted to share some other concerns that another healthcare provider in our area had made me aware of. That, our LGBTQIA plus communities are so important and so in need of affirming and welcoming and culturally congruent care. And I'm concerned about all the things that stand in the way of that and all the missed opportunities. I want to specifically talk about Laura Brown, a colleague of mine who I understand was employed by the center. And after she was, her employment was ended, she reached out to the board and expressed the need to talk to the board about some very specific things. And it sounds like there was not substantive follow-up about that either. I have her email.
You have 1 minute left.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you. I have her email. So she mentioned that she had grave concerns about some of the operations of the center that she felt the members of the board should be privy to, and that she had encountered a externally hostile work environment. And for the sake of time, my main point that I want to say is that there have been opportunities to share feedback in different ways in the past. And I would love to know concretely what's going to happen so that we know that we're those of us who have feedback and really would love to see this center be the center for all of us.
15 seconds.
Thank you. How we know that's going to happen and that we're not just, airing our grievances and being vulnerable and not going to see that progress. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Yona.
Thank you, Yona. I need to say this, Yona. I was timing for Don to microphone on mute, so I don't want to think that I was going after Yona and did not say that to Donna. So that was me, and my technology skills are not so great on this side.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. I'm sorry about that.
We have Reds.
It's Bonnie actually going to speak.
It's Bonnie.
Oh, okay. Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, everyone. I am a founding member of the center and have been involved from day one and have been on the board and have worked as a volunteer. And being at this meeting, I'm appalled. It feels to me like a total attack on what's going on with our current people. I have experienced at the center true growth from the time that I got involved to now. And it is so upsetting to me for all of you to be attacking. Where were you in the beginning? Where are you now? Are you coming out to offer to do different things? I volunteer at the desk. I don't see any of you coming in, and there are people here that have been staff people. Why didn't you talk? I mean, I know I'm older than most of you, but my heart is totally with the center. I love the center, and I love to see the growth that has taken place over the years. And I think it's really incumbent upon all of you to recognize what's gone on and to not sit there and attack and blame, and to be grateful for the work that has gone on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to see the Kingston Center do more work for our queer community that is formerly incarcerated, that is just coming home. I am formerly incarcerated myself, where I spent 10 years, and I was sent to the city of Newburgh, where I was didn't know a single person. And when I tried to contact the center for resources and education and to be able to connect with my queer community with being disconnected from the society so long, I was told if I ever get a ride up to Kingston, I can come to one of their programs. I felt invalid. I felt unheard. I felt that because of my incarceration, I wasn't accepted in the queer community. I shied away from the queer community for almost 2 years because of that incident. There needs to be more work, because the queer people who are incarcerated in New York State and everywhere deals with so much trauma and deals with so much pain, and then having to deal with coming home and not finding your queer community, where I had to survive on sex work for my first 90 days out because I could not afford to eat. And my queer community was not there for me. So I want to see work done around that. I'm in Newburgh now, and I've moved up, and I have, now I'm self-sustaining and I don't have to use sex work. But if I have this there's 100 people on this call. There's all these board members and volunteers and all this stuff. And there was not a reaching hand. There was not nothing. There is nothing. There was not even like an offer, like, oh, let's connect me with the ride. There was none of that availability. It was, if you can get a ride, you can attend one of our programs. But I had to survive in sex work, and luckily I didn't get violated on parole. So I want to see more work done to our queer community that is coming home.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.
Fran?
Hello?
Fran, are you there? Okay. Fran, if you can hear me and send us a message, send me a message in the chat to let me know if you're able. We'll call on you as soon as we can, as soon as you're back. And we'll call on the next person with their hand raised. Jim?
Hi there.
Hi.
So, hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jem Altieri, and my pronouns are she and her. I was the facilitator of the League of Extraordinary Genders group for teens for a couple of years, and I've been going to lots of, to the center a whole lot. And the queer community of the Hudson Valley, and particularly of the Kingston area, has shown me such a joyful queer love that has literally saved my life. So I'm speaking to you tonight in the context of a deep pride and love for this community. So there are many people who have been directly hurt by the center. You're hearing about and from some of those people tonight. I very much stand in solidarity with the Queer Alliance and their letter. As a middle-aged white upper middle class trans woman, I live a life of relatively privileged queerness, and the injuries to me have not been as direct. So tonight, I'd like to speak to you, the leadership of the center, privileged person to privileged person, if we may. I keep imagining how I might react if dozens of members of my community organized to call out my racist and queerphobic actions. So I could perhaps tell myself, why are these people attacking me? These people are overreacting. They're being so sensitive. I gotta show them, I gotta figure out how to show them that I'm not racist, because I know I'm not racist. Just look, like I've become closer with some of my Black friends recently. So I could do that, right? And I would miss an extraordinary opportunity to heal my community and to heal myself. I could miss the opportunity to be a part of the flow of a loving community justice, which is what we're asking you to participate in tonight. So, or I...
1 minute.
Thank you. Or I could perhaps tell myself, whoa, look at all these people showing up for our community. I didn't think I was causing so much harm, but I must be. It seems that I have done some serious harm here. I need to drop what I'm doing, right?
Jim, we can't hear you.
Jim, you're mute.
We can't hear you, Jim. I'm sorry.
Jim, you're on mute.
We've lost your audio.
Did you lose my audio?
We did, but now you're back. Can you please finish what you were saying?
May I please finish? Did you?
Please do.
I think I stopped. Maybe you didn't hear me at, or I could perhaps tell myself. Yes, I'm going to say that. Or I could perhaps tell myself, wow, look at all of these people showing up for our community. I didn't think I was causing so much harm, but I must be. It seems that I have done some serious harm here. I need to drop what I'm doing and listen to exactly what my community is telling me. Perhaps if I'm causing so much harm,
Jim.
Thank you, I shouldn't be in a position of leadership until I have started to become part of the solution. Perhaps I should give some Black and trans people the reins of this organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Is it Lee?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Lee. Many of you don't know me. I'm actually a fairly recent transplant to Kingston and to the area. I came here a little over a year ago and have been eager to engage at the center from before I even arrived, was sending emails actually about how I could get involved before my family made the move up here. Our attempts to get involved with the center have been stymied by a number of things. The biggest is hearing from our community what harms have been perpetrated and how much people in our community were being hurt. Our question was, do we want to get involved and support an organization that isn't showing up for the people who are the most disenfranchised of our LGBTQ community? for Black and trans folk, for disabled folk, for people who are formerly incarcerated, for immigrant populations, for people who do not speak English. We have a lot of community needs that are not being met. And our attempts to be part of the solution have not necessarily been taken up. I am a diversity, inclusion, and equity consultant and strategist. I do work with communities around substantive change all day long, every day for the past 20 years. I know how hard it is to actually take in critical feedback. I've watched community and groups take and work on the process of that deep, deep reflective change. And it isn't without a lot of fear, a lot of defense, and a lot of concern, and a lot of protection for the thing that you've created that's really good. I hope that folks can really hear that critical feedback is coming from a place of actually saying, we want the center to be better. We want the center to be better for everybody. This is something that is crucial to actually meet the needs of the community, and it's not the same thing as an attack. We can attack and go elsewhere, as has already been stated in the letter, to do the work that's needed. The Queer Alliance is showing up for community in ways that the center has not. But we actually want to do this together. So actually tapping the community resources and support, and listening and hearing what people are having to say, doing the deep reflective change. I'm sorry?
1 minute left.
Thank you. Doing the deep reflective change that's necessary, and actually working with the Queer Alliance can actually build a center that actually is for the community and by the community, rather for the donor and by the donor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Lee. Adam?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, again.
Yes.
So, full disclosure, I'm Adam Rubenstein. I'm actually president board member of the Dutchess County Pride Center. So I know it's kind of weird that I'm on this call, and I certainly don't want it to seem like this is a way to kind of let everyone know who we are. My initial reason for coming on the call was to let you know that after we started, we heard a lot of feedback from the community about the problems that you guys were having in Kingston, and your representation and your outreach to the community. Clearly, I don't need to do that because you're hearing it from everyone on this call. The one thing that I can add, which was something that Lauren had mentioned before, which is in regards to competition with other centers. And I will say that at first I thought maybe we were a little paranoid that you guys were trying to compete with us. When we first started this, our group, we'd actually reached out to you a number of times looking for guidance, looking for assistance, and we got absolutely nothing from you guys, which frankly put us in a little bit of a defensive mode. And that's not good for us, it's not good for you, and it's not good for the community at large. So I would like to be able to work with you. And again, I think that's going to just be better for everyone in the community. We can see what's going on in this country, where division leads us, and it's the last thing that we need. So again, I apologize if it feels like I'm attacking you and it's weird coming from the Pride Center, but that was not my intention, and I hope we can work together in the future.
Thank you. Tyrone?
Hi, well, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was open. Hi, I'm Tyrone Wilson. I'm actually the Commissioner of Human Rights for Ulster County. I just want to, acknowledge why I'm here is, one, I just wanted to have that introduction to say to the LGBTQ community that I am here and I am more than welcome with talking to anyone. Jeff Linder is actually on my commission. I have several conversations with him about how do we engage, all of the community. What's important, how do we, work together. I'm also the director of Harambe, that's here in Kingston, which means in Swahili the coming together of people. Just as well as I had spoke to my Latino brothers and sisters, I am very interested in how do we all come together? How do we come to the table? So I just wanted to introduce myself to you all. I'm in the county building. I'm on the 4th floor. My door is always open. And I would love to start this process of, the coming together of people. As I spoke to Jeff and whatever, like he knows whatever I can do to support him and everyone here at the community, in the community, I am willing and I'm here to do so. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Ellis?
Hi, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Ellis. I'm a volunteer at the center, and actually have been volunteering there since even before I officially lived in the Hudson Valley. I run the game night and have volunteered at lots and lots of events. This is the queer community that is asking for change at the center. We are present at the center, and that's really how we know that this is happening there. A lot of people have also alluded to the kind of whisper network of people of the center's reputation kind of preceding it.
I don't know if you can hear me. Oh, you're back.
Is that better?
Yeah, you froze for a moment there.
Okay. And as I was introduced to this community, it became increasingly clear to me that these issues are real, and people have tried to reach out to the center and change the center from within, and neither of those things have been met with any real change. It's either been swept under the rug, or denied, or seen as an attack, or met with a Band-Aid instead of real change happening. And I think that's what really needs to be seen. I don't think, for example, that anyone would disagree that the center needs more accessibility, right? If someone were to apply to a job there, they can't reach the 3rd floor if that's a person in a wheelchair. That's a huge issue. And there isn't room.
We have 1 minute left.
Okay, thank you. And there just needs to be a lot more room made in the center leadership for more voices to be heard, and for them to be heard really courageously without running away or denying it or seeing it as an attack. Intersectionality is really hard work, and it requires educating yourselves. And this is your queer community. This is asking out of love for the center to be what it really can be.
Thank you, Alice. Fran.
Hi. I'm a former board member and a PFLAG mom, and I've been having PFLAG meetings at the center since the very first month the center opened. I'm listening to all of your comments, and I know I shouldn't take it personally because the center has been such a part of my life for so long. It does bother me on some level. I always thought that we were members, when I was a member of the board, that we all had open ears, and the center is for you. And I know that I was working hard with other board members to diversify the board, and we welcome the diversity on the board. Please think about coming on board. I mean, there's a process, an application process, a resume, and an interview. And I would love to see you serve on the board. It's not the board versus the community. We're here for you. If you wanted more programs, tell us or tell the board. If you have concerns, let us know. I'm so excited about this town hall meeting and to hear your concerns. I don't know that all of them are valid in my opinion, but they're valid to you, so it counts. But I really, I'm excited that you're so interested, because I will say we need young people on the board, and I never saw anybody even inquire about getting on the board. So please.
Fran, we have 1 minute left.
This is important, and we care. The longevity of the center is important to me personally. The fact that Kingston has an LGBTQ center, that it has that sign, and we're there and we're proud and we're not going anywhere. But we need you. It's not us against you. It's us together. So I'm hearing your voices. I'm not sure that there's a real problem here. I think you all need to work to help change that. That's what I was trying to do while I was on the board, and I continue to do as I volunteer.
Brandon, 15 seconds.
So that's my say. I'm glad to see this community activated. That's good. It's a good thing. And
that's it, Fran.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
We have Sam and Elliot.
Hi, everyone. My name's Elliot. I use they pronouns, and I stand in solidarity with the Queer Alliance. I'm sure that there's a lot of really great responses in the chat right now to the last speaker that I encourage everyone to look at, but I just wanted to share an experience of mine with the LGBTQ Center that feels very representative of some of these larger issues that we've all been talking about. So I'll try to keep this summary nice and short. In November of this year, I sent an email to the center offering feedback about a training that happened at my job. I work at a youth shelter in Poughkeepsie. And I sent an email offering some feedback about that training to the center. And I don't want to take up a ton of time with the details, but this facilitator of this training revealed some really deeply transphobic attitudes in really insidious ways throughout the entire thing. He rolled his eyes when I gave my pronouns. He changed a lot of really particular language from what was written in the presentation. Things like saying male and female instead of man and woman, or just person. Talking about how trans people identify with the opposite gender roles, which is a lot to unpack. Talking about assigned gender birth as biological. And he seemed really confused about the differences between pretty common trans terminologies. At the very end of the slideshow, my manager and a couple of my coworkers were talking about a person who used to work at my job who was a trans man, and a flurry of all these comments ensued about that man's assigned gender and his outness status at work and the way he looked and the way he acted. And this facilitator just clicked to the next slide. And I know these instances seem kind of small, but I think because they're small, they operate on this very insidious level. I think that this approach,
1 minute left.
Thank you. I think that this approach to diversity training sponsored by the center is going to put a variety of people at risk in uncomfortable or even dangerous positions, since every recipient of this training is going to find their negative beliefs about trans people echoed and sanctioned by someone who's supposed to be an ambassador for the LGBTQ community. And not only an ambassador, but an ambassador specifically trained and sanctioned by the Hudson Valley LGBTQ Center. I never received a return email or a phone call from the center about this. A week or two after I sent that, I happened to run into an employee who told me the facilitator was due for a meeting with Jeff, but I don't know if that meeting ever happened. And if any further vetting processes were added for center ambassadors who visit the workplaces of very vulnerable people, I haven't heard about them.
15 seconds left.
Thank you. I think this incident represents some of the broader problems baked into the center, that only some voices are valued, only some issues are genuinely concerning to the board, and that action is only taken after certain incidents. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elliot.
Thank you, Elliot.
I want to take this moment just to really thank each and every one of you who've brought your feelings and concerns forward. We still have time, and I want to make sure that if you have additional things that you need to say, that we utilize that time in this way. So please raise your hand through the participant option, so that we can continue to listen and know that, and again, I will say this when we go to wrap up, that we are listening, that over the course of the next several weeks, we will be discussing, both staff and board, how to best move forward and take what we have received in this process and come up with what we think are some good next steps. It is a long walk out of the woods, so to speak, and we are in a time that, that does call us all to look within, that does call us all to see how to work together to really move a vision forward that is embracing and celebrating the diversity of this community. Again, excuse me, but tonight is very important, and I want you to know that. I hope you know that, and that you feel it like I do. And I know that it's hard when we come from such different places sometimes to remember that which unites us. And I hope that we can remember those things. I really do.
Phoenix, I'd like to jump in a little bit. I will tell you, everything that we've heard today is moving. You know, as interim chair of this board, this is the beginning. This is the start. I see my co-chair getting choked up. It's so important to me to see change. It's so important to both her and I, since we've been appointed.
Them.
Her and I have been nonstop. They have been nonstop with me on the phone. I'm telling you, we're talking late at night. It is a passion for both of us. Please, we are listening. This is the beginning of change. This is wonderful. This is everybody voicing their opinion. And as Phoenix said, we have plenty of time. We're here to listen.
Thank you. Deb?
Sorry.
Are you here, Jem?
I'm here.
No, Jem.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this.
Sorry, Jem. It was close, but no, Jem.
Sorry, Phoenix. Sade asked to go next in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yes, please. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I've been unmuted for a while, and then right as it's time to
My
speak,
apologies.
No, that's okay. So my name is Sade. I use they, them, or he, him pronouns. I'm trans. I moved back to the area a few years ago, and basically the center changed my life. It gave me permission to be myself. And when I say the center, I mean the trans people that I encountered at the center. And it increasingly became obvious that there was a difference in between those two. Right. So I would go to events that were general center events. People would have no idea what they, them pronouns were. I would have to explain that I'm trans. And some there was actually like just as many cis straight people as there were supposedly queer people. So when someone says that, who are we and why don't we spend time at the center? I actually have spent a lot of time at the center. I tried to make it my home. I ran a trans movement storytelling group specifically at the center to create a space for trans people to be seen with each other and spending time and to be safe. Because for me, at least, I don't feel safe anywhere else. So this is really the place where it feels most important that I feel safe, and I don't. And so I eventually got to the point where it was so frustrating and so unwelcoming that I completely gave up on the center. So I feel a lot of hope that so many people have banded together to try to create change at the center. And the second thing I want to say about that is the fact that when we have privilege, there are things that we cannot see. And so there is no way for the core leadership of the center to hold on to your positions and come up with your own solutions to these problems. The people as a collective on this call that are expressing these problems are representing a lot of different viewpoints, right? And so the center just does not have that in your leadership. So trying to kind of appease us with some sorts of changes that y'all come up with that don't actually specifically embrace every single demand that has been made today is going to fall short. And it's not going to be good enough.
I read 1 minute.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Sake. Stephen?
Hi, I'm Stephen Kratzer. Sorry, I don't have my video going. I use he, him pronouns. I am a former intern of the center. I was interning there from September of 2019 until December of 2019. And I'm very appreciative of all the people who are coming out and talking about their experiences. It's fantastic. My one, I guess, misgiving, something that I'm kind of worried about, is the fact that I have seen emails from people. I've seen emails, I've spoken to people directly who have already voiced these concerns, and I've not seen any change. That's deeply upsetting to me. The fact that there's a public forum now where we are all here and hearing each other together, that's fantastic. But I want to know what the center is going to do for all of the people who were affiliated with them, who trusted them, loved and cared about them, that they alienated and that they hurt, especially people who are working within the organization that were hurt and mistreated and forced out. I want to know how the center intends to repair those lost bonds that are so powerful and valuable that they willfully neglected. It just hurts to see the turnover and people coming and going who are so beautiful, such fantastic, wonderful people that brought so much life and perspective to their positions as workers at the center be mistreated and tossed aside and forced to kind of feel unsafe. I want to know how the environment is going to be made safe for the people who work there as you continue to grow and change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Billy?
Hi. I'm gonna lower my hand. Can y'all hear me all right? Get like a thumbs up or something. Brilliant. Thank you. I just want to name, there's obviously so much I could say, right? But I'm actually just going to take this time to acknowledge that there are so many volunteers on this call. And then it is incredibly disheartening to hear folks representing the center say that those people are not present. To know that there are volunteers here, community members here, people who have helped organize dances, people who run support groups, people who helped paint that beautiful rainbow crosswalk you have on this call, and to pretend like those people don't exist, and to pretend like they have not been giving of their time and of their energy and of their hearts is incredibly disrespectful. What it actually shows me is that you just didn't meet them, which is really indicative of the issue. That the people here, the people on this call have been showing up. They've been writing the letters. They're the reason there's the reason you have a suggestion box at the front desk. They're a reason why there have been augmentations made to the website so that people could share their concerns. They're the reason why people send messages to the social media, which if maybe you were in charge of social media, you would know, but the person who is currently is getting those messages. People have been showing up consistently. It is actually so beautiful and so endearing, the fact that people keep showing up, keep showing up. And I am just flabbergasted that there would be even one person on this call to pretend like that is not happening. I have so much to say about my own experience, about the things I saw and felt and heard and how I was talked to and treated. But what I will actually say is that it is ridiculous to pretend like the people on this call have not been here this entire time.
Billy, we're at 1 minute.
I mean, God, what else is there to say? Thank you. Thank you to everyone that just keeps showing up. Because you really shouldn't have to. The center is here to serve you. The board, by the way, is here to serve you. And the reality is you're doing the work. And I'm so grateful to be a part of a community that keeps showing up.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
Fred? I see that you're...
Thank you, Phoenix, for giving me a chance to speak. I'm very enthused by the energy and the clarity and the commitment to the center and to the vision and the mission that all of us who've been involved in it since before it really had a space to meet. In a way, some of us turned the soil, fertilized the land, watered, etc., so that what's happening now could happen. When we started, we didn't have this kind of people, this kind of energy, this kind of focus. We were trying to get ourselves a place. We were trying to get ourselves a safe place for everyone to come to. We were delighted to have doorways that were of glass that people could be included. It's sad to me to hear people not feeling safe. It's sad for me to people feeling not included, and I'm sorry for that. I've been out of it, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that fact, but I'm glad to hear people speak out and have energy to make it different and to make this the best possible LGBTQ plus center we can make it. And it's going to take all of us. And it's going to take some hard work, and it's going to take some real introspection. And thank you for your energy, and thank you for your support. And I hope in some small way, you also recognize the same kind of energy and the same kind of clarity that the founders put in to make this whole thing happen.
Thank you, Fred. Elise?
Hey, thank you for giving me another chance to...
Sure.
I didn't, when I read my portion of the letter, I didn't introduce myself, so I will now. I'm Elise, they, them pronouns. I've been one of the facilitators of the trans spectrum discussion group for about 3 years. So I definitely have been there showing up at the center for a while. Back when that was the only thing there was for trans people at the center, I was there. I'm also one of the people who runs the Awakening Trans Arts Coalition. A bunch of other folks from that group are here on this call. We've had some really awesome events at the center. Some of the most well-attended events that the center has ever had are events that we put on. So yeah, we're there. We're part of the community. We have been for years. I didn't even know who was on the board until a couple weeks ago when you finally updated the website. I just want to point out that a few times we've dropped the link to a petition in the group chat, and would someone drop that again, please? The full text of the letter we read is available at that link, and if you have not already, you're invited to sign that petition if you agree with the things that we said, which did include a really heartfelt thank you to the people who founded the center for the work that you did, an acknowledgement of that. I don't know if you caught that, but it's there. So thank you. That's all for me.
Thank you very much, Elise. Erin?
Yeah, I just wanted to add my voice as a volunteer from August 2017
through now, so when I moved back to the Hudson Valley after graduating from my undergraduate degree, I don't think that we're here to attack. I don't think that we're here to make this an us versus them. I think that we're here to amplify the voices of people who have been hurt by the center and harmed by the center and continue to be hurt and harmed by the center. And so many of those voices are people who are also volunteers, who are staff members and former staff members who love the center and don't deserve to be hurt by something that they love. So I really appreciate, board members, current staff, please hear this and listen, and let's work together to make change. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Erin. Holly?
Hi, I'm Holly Kelly. I run the baby and toddler group at the center. And I wrote the board and letter last year or earlier this year. I feel like that should have been a canary in the coal mine moment for you, really letting you hear that this is what was happening. These voices weren't being heard. The response that I received to that was literally, with all due respect, was a line that came in the response. I hope you know that we're here because we care. I still run the baby and toddler group because I care, because I want people to have that resource. Whether that space, that safe space, continues to be the center for that group, I'm not sure right now, honestly. But we care. We want the center to be an amazing space. A couple years ago, I was invited to join the board. At that time in my life, I didn't have the money to join the board. I also had a conflict with the board meeting consistently, another center activity that I was doing regularly. But it was that give and get that was a barrier to me. I hope that when you invite other diverse community members onto the board, you consider that give and get. And I say that it was a barrier to me as a relatively privileged person. Additionally, I do want to say thank you to everybody who has worked on the center for many years. It has been a home for me as I moved to this community, and Kingston and my experience here over the last 5 years wouldn't be the same without it. So I really do thank you. And I really hope that we can all do the work to make it that better place so it's safe for everybody else who's moving in, who lives here already.
1 minute.
Thank you. And for particularly members of our community who are here, whom the center isn't serving currently, particularly with regards to accessibility needs, language barrier access, etc. And I just want to say thanks to all the people who have made themselves so vulnerable on this call today. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Holly. We still have a few moments. I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity. Emmett? Oh.
Sorry.
Okay,
I'm Emmett. I use he and they pronouns, and I don't know if everyone saw it in the chat. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who spoke today. I feel like so honored to be here with y'all, and I feel extremely grateful to the people who founded the center, who were doing exactly what we're doing then. And I think that it's really easy to like turn something into your baby and just decide that your baby can never grow because you've worked so hard on it. And that is absolutely a thing that stops movements in their tracks. And I want to say that, like I said it in the chat, I'll say it here again, that the defensiveness that has been brought to this meeting from board members, both in the chat and in person, has actually caused a number of the people on this call to spend a huge amount of time asserting to you that we care. which is actually like a big waste of everybody's energy. You should know that we care. This is a huge demonstration of that. And like that you did this too at one point, right? And that's why we're here, because we're just like you, but we're just now, right? And so the fact that we've then had to use so much of our time here to prove to you that we are worth listening to is also something I'd really like you to think more about, and to think about the ways that your presence on the board, on the staff, may or may not actually be an appropriate representation of the community who are here asking you to be as radical as you were when you started the LGBT Center. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmett.
Hey, what's up? My name's Royal. I want to thank everybody who shared before me, and for my friend inviting me in here, and I don't really know too much, but I wanted to take a listen before I said anything, and, and take a look around the room. Like, these people on the board, they're like, they gotta go. That's just how I feel from what I've heard. They don't seem like they want to see the change that the youth wants to see, that they're not being progressive minded enough to see that these times are changing. I mean, the center's name should have been changed to the LGBTQ+, and it should even add some more letters to better suit the people's needs. And the fact that there's not like Spanish instructions and materials, and there's no access for people with disabilities. I mean, I'm sorry that the community really has to come out and tell the board these things, because that's like given, and if that's some of the problems that the community is having, the volunteers, and they have to bring that up, like at this level to this point, that says a lot about the leadership that's been playing a part in here, like base level. Like they owe everybody here an apology, directly. They need to take a look and a self-inventory check to see what they're doing and why they're doing it for. I heard somebody say that they feel attacked. I'm sorry that you feel that way, because that's not what these people are doing here. They're showing and expressing their care and concern for the community that they dedicate a lot of hard work to. I've only been around a couple times, but I've never seen not one of you board members there. I've only seen these volunteers out there hustling and bustling and helping the community, and their dedication shows and shines through. And I'm so glad that they had this meeting and invited me, because things need to change, y'all. And the tone that y'all are taking with them is harsh. It sounds harsh, like I said, I'm just tuning in, and listened. And like the way you talk and the way that you guys sound, you sound very offended and defensive to people that are voicing their concerns. And like, that's not cool. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you very much, Royal.
I'm being too loud in the chat.
Hi, I know that we're almost out of time, so I want to keep this really brief. I don't know exactly when the center is reopening or if it physically has reopened. Okay, there you go. But what immediately would be extremely necessary is we need a plan that, should existing accessibility measures unexpectedly fail, like in the case of an emergency. I know that there's always an emergency plan, but should the lift fail or something, I think there also needs to be a backup plan for that. And I speak not from a place of an emergency, but from experience, where basically I had went up the stairs. My disability allows me to go up them, but can't go down them very well. And it was locked. A staff member was walking by and just told me that was impossible. The lift doesn't lock. So I was like, okay, maybe it is out of order. But there was no signage, so I couldn't have taken precautionary measures and just not gone up. And I was up there without a way down. Luckily, I had a friend who helped me down. But should there have been a fire, or should there have been someone who had a more extreme disability than me, they would have been stuck up there. Like, they would have not had a way to get down. So I think that there should just be a backup plan for the existing accessibility measures. And then I just want to close to thank the Queer Alliance for all the work that you've done in presenting this. Thank the original founding members for laying the groundwork, and thank everybody who's come out here for continuing to help that grow. And hopefully the center does see the positive intentions of everyone so that we can continue to come together as a community rather than having to split off into factions. And yes, I think I'm done. Thank you, everyone.
1 minute.
Have a nice night.
Thank you, Kate. We have time at least for one more, if somebody would like to. Thank you, Miranda.
So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who talked tonight, because so I've lived in the Hudson Valley for a few years and looking at ways to get more involved in my community. And I absolutely appreciate everyone who shows up to the center, because of a lot of the stuff that I heard about the center over drinks, over coffee, just getting a feel for this area. I was really concerned about getting involved and about putting my energy into an organization that seems to have these kind of structural problems. And it's pretty wonderful to see that so many people care and that so many people are invested in it. And I just really hope that everyone can listen with an open heart and understand that we are angry about so many of the same things, and we have been angry and hopeful about so many things for so long, and that this is about what comes next, always about what comes next, and how do we make things better for the babies in the toddler group and for the teens who come to game night and who come to all that programming. And just, we all have so much work to do in so many different ways, and I just hope that this can be an opportunity to make that really come into existence for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miranda. And we still have time for one more before I'll probably have to say a few words to bring this session to a close. Okay, Kate.
I didn't have anything prepared, but okay. I just wanted to say that anyone on this call feeling attacked or feeling blindsided by things, it's okay to admit you have blind spots. It's okay to admit community centers can make mistakes and fail at things. And I think it's really dangerous when there's communities or people who aren't willing to admit that they have things to learn. So I just think it's really important to understand that having blind spots is just, it's okay. Like, it's okay as long as you're willing to admit that that can lead to really positive changes. And thank you to everyone who's spoken.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you so much. Yes, we can't see it. If we can't change something, if we can't see it. And to be able to look for it. I want to be sure to say a few things. There's lots of things running through me right now. And I will say to you, it's just Phoenix. It's just someone who's been part of this call and is part of this community. I heard you. And will be giving, as I know my fellow board members will be, a lot of thought. But it's more than thought, as you said. And, you know, tonight, as I opened up this session, it was about next steps and action and actionable things that we can do as quickly as possible. Knowing that healing and change has a course, a path, and it's one step at a time. Sometimes it's lots of steps happening simultaneously as we work hard. But just know that we're working hard. We will be working hard. And I feel very deeply about what was shared, and I thank you, everyone who was able to bring that and their hearts and their concerns to a Zoom forum where it's incredibly vulnerable. And 99 people, 99 participants taking time out for your center. And for all who've been giving, I just say thank you for everyone. We will be having folks, please be sure to add comments via the Google form, so that if you didn't get a chance to share tonight, and you have additional concerns or things that you would really like us to know and bring forward, please do that. As I mentioned, we will be over the next few weeks. There's a lot here. This is going to take some energy for us to work on it. And at the next forum, which has been set for July 30th, we will be bringing what we have heard to you to continue the dialogue. Liz?
I wanted to let you know, right before you started speaking, one last person did raise their hand, so I've unmuted. Okay.
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you for stopping me.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just had something very short to say. I have spent time at the center. I actually like a few people. Meeting the people at the center, found support and actually coming out, and in my case, transitioning. And I just want to say the people who work at the center, the community around the center, are your foundation. The board is there to serve them. And people of color, trans people of color, queer people of color, and people who are with disabilities, they're part of the community, and you have to look to them first. You have to look to them first, because when you do that, it serves the whole community. And so I just want to say that, and thank everyone who's done work at the center so far, and personally thank them for supporting me and supporting a lot of other people. And that's it. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mina.
And I just want to thank everyone, thank the staff, all of you volunteers, community members. Really, I know this was an extremely important night. And maybe so, as far as the beginning of some needed change and movement and healing and growth. I want to ask Jim if there's anything. I'm going to take a look to make sure. I'm sorry, it's been a long day, and circuits are a little overloaded from having been present to the best of my ability. So I just want to make sure that I didn't forget anything or anyone, especially after all that has taken place tonight. But I think I've done everything I was asked to do for this evening. But again, know that we will be coming back, that we do want to hear more. So what you didn't get to say or may not have felt comfortable, or if there are people who you know who were not able to be part of this evening, please share the link with them, ask them. Okay, and it is an ongoing matter and discussion and process. So
what I'd like to add is we heard and hear every individual on this call. Everyone. We do. And that means I only had 10 seconds, but we've heard everything that you had to say, and we're going to take that back. And the changes that need to be made at that center, as I co-chair that center, will be made. So, I'm new to this community. I'm new to leading the board, but the changes that you're talking about now, if those are the changes that we need to do at that center, that's what myself and my co-chair signed up for.
Mm-hmm.
Know that. We heard you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. I'm in, and we'll do everything I can. That's what I can say. So I hope that you have some restful evening after this, and I will look forward to meeting you in person when and as that's allowed under COVID-19, as we're able to move back into shared physical space. And this will conclude for this evening. So if you have a way, if I'm going to, trying to think, I'm a little tired. Please reach out. That's all I can say. Reach out, call the center if you need to find me. I think my email, something's available via the website, but to tell you my brain is so tired, to be truthful, I'm not sure at this point. I'm lucky I know my name is Phoenix and my pronouns are they, them. But I wish you well tonight and thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.